Hello and welcome to another GIS report with Health in Perspective. Today we're at a workshop geared toward long-term athlete development and physical literacy. We have with us one of the facilitators, Mr. Richard Way. Mr. Way, thank you for granting this interview.
Thanks. It's wonderful to be in the British Virgin Islands.
Now, to get us started, share with us your history as it relates to this workshop and your role.
Well, I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Sport for Life Society in Canada, which is a nonprofit organization. And I work with government and national sport organizations as I'm an architect of the long-term athlete development model and the Sport for Life concepts.
Now, share with us the concept and the driving force behind the Sports for Life.
Well, in this case, the driving concept behind being here in the BVI is that CANOC, the Caribbean Association National Olympic Committee, has organized with 6 countries in the Caribbean for my team of experts to come to the Caribbean on 5 different occasions to work with those 6 countries to work through implementation of Sport for Life in the sport system as well as the health and education system, along with long-term athlete development pathways and the development of physical literacy.
Now, this program has 3 key concepts. Can you share with us and also tell us a bit about each concept?
The 3 key concepts with Sport for Life is physical literacy, excellence pathways, as well as being active for life. So with physical literacy is a term that really we're introducing to the world. It emanates out of England and the work of Dr. Margaret Whitehead, who is a physical educator and philosopher. And we've taken the term in Canada and we identify its potential to actually change behavior around physical education in schools, and also to be able to link sport, education, recreation, and health to collaborate so that we can have healthier children. And physical literacy at its core is developing the physical competence, the confidence, and the motivation for everyone to be active for life. So that's the physical literacy, which is the base of the 3 key outcomes. Then also there's the excellence pathway, and that's to then take a 7-stage model where you systematically develop participants and athletes, identifying the performance components within each stage to develop excellence, and then identify that we want all those children that become physically literate, and then take that excellence pathway to then become active for life.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Now, as the Ministry of Health, one of our premier goals is to strive towards a healthier Virgin Islands. How would a program like this contribute to that overarching goal?
Well, right now, the statistics around health in the BVI and generally the Caribbean and North America are not very positive. We have increasing number of people who are overweight and obese that are leading to very negative health outcomes. And in fact, statistics are now showing that our children will have a shorter life expectancy by 5 years than our adults currently are. So what we need to do is we need to change those outcomes, and we can only do that if we do that as a village, as everyone becomes involved, whether that's sport, education, or health. And by applying the 3 key outcomes in those contexts, we can hopefully change the trends within health within the BVI.
And how would this workshop and I guess many more to come assist with getting us to that end result?
Well, as I've said to the group this morning, the intention is to challenge the thinking of the group so that they start to think in a different way. And we prescribe to the saying of Albert Einstein, which is if you're doing the same thing over and over again in the same way, but expecting different results, that's the definition of insanity. And so we're really challenging the group here to think in a different way, to be able to go out of this workshop and the workshops that come to change their behavior and the organizational structures, whether it be government organizations or coaching.
Now, in terms of implementation, how do you see that going?
Well, implementation would be to take the National Sport Plan, which is sport for all, as well as high performance sport, and then be able to change the structures of national sport federations, as well as the way physical education is delivered within the school system to improve the quality and also to be able to measure impact along the way.
In terms of implementation, how will this concept help athletes? How will it help the government assist athletes? How will it help sports organization develop and coaches and parents? How do you see that benefiting or helping them?
Well, there's a big long answer to that, but I'll try and be somewhat brief in terms of with athletes. It's key that athletes are in training environments that are developmentally appropriate, so that they're doing the right thing at the right time and that they have meaningful competition. So therefore, it's competition that there's an opportunity to win. So those are two key components around developing programs, training and competition for athletes, developmentally appropriate and meaningful competition. With government, it's then to set up policies and plans to create those environments as much as possible. And government and National Olympic Committee are funders of sport, and so it should allow them to be more effective in terms of their investment in sport and physical activity. With the organizations, once they have a pathway, they can clearly identify the athletes that are developing the performance component at a particular stage, and then it allows them to put them in appropriate training environments and invest in them having appropriate competition. And so it gives organizations a better guide to how they invest and where their athletes are at. With coaches, it also means that they need to change the way that they're doing things. Often we see early specialization because coaches, along with parents, want success with their children, and don't generally have the patience to put all the performance components into place so that they lay a strong foundation for future success. For parents, yes, it's understanding that long-term athlete development plan. So again, they can either be more engaged in understanding what they should be doing to help their athletes, or they should be less engaged and not putting so much pressure on athletes as they're trying to develop the performance components. Again, that foundation for success.
Now, this morning we had a very interactive session where we identified some of the challenges associated with some of the topics that you just spoke about, based on the conversation this morning and some of the issues that were brought to the forefront. What are you seeing in terms of what would be required to be done here to get this program elevated?
Well, there was a robust discussion around challenges, as there typically is, and lots of challenges were identified by the group. This afternoon, we'll start to talk about opportunities or solutions, and that will be where the group will be challenged to identify how they can address the challenges and create better situations for the athletes, the government, the National Olympic Committee, organizations, for parents and coaches around improving sport and physical activity in the BVI.
Now, earlier you spoke of Albert Einstein's definition of insanity. How will it impact us here, continuing business as usual as we look at athlete and athlete development within our territory?
Well, the challenge is that the individuals in the room will have to think differently, because again, the thinking that got us here, and that is certain performance levels, certain levels of participation, certain levels of inactivity. The thinking that got us here will not get us to where we want to go. And everybody in the room identified that they want change. They want to improve the quality of sport and physical activity for health, education, and sporting outcomes. And so that will mean that they have to think and act differently going forward.
Now, on that note of thinking and acting, you also spoke about a paradigm shift. Now, in terms of that paradigm shift and looking at the five core people or groups, we have the government, athletes, parents, coaches, and organizations. Can you list one paradigm shift that would need to occur for each to get the ball rolling?
A few paradigm shifts, and often these are across those different aspects, but a few paradigm shifts are: one is to act in an inclusive manner rather than an exclusive manner. So if we have children that want to participate in sport, we don't cut them from sport. We always find a place for them in sport, and that might be within a sport in terms of creating tiers of activity, or that could be within a number of sports in terms of encouraging athletes to maybe move from one sport to another. Another is to look at sport from a stage-based model as opposed to an age-based model, and identifying that kids, although maybe are at one chronological age, they might be developmentally different, and then are we creating an environment that is specific to their development? So is it developmentally appropriate based on their stage of development? There's also, we're going to be challenging sport to identify, are they in it for sport's sake, or are they in it for society's sake? And so how are they contributing to society? How is that sport contributing to the health of the nation, as well as developing the game and competing for the nation? So moving from sport for sport's self to sport for society. So I could go on, but I think that gives a bit of a taste of the different thinking that we'll be challenging the group with.
And to end us off, share with us some of the benefits that could be derived once all the key players are involved and really take this thing seriously moving forward.
Well, I think the benefits come back to those three key outcomes, in terms of that in the BVI we have children that are more physically literate because of improved investment and quality of physical education in schools and sport programming for our children. We also have more excellence. We have more medals won at major games because athletes have followed a proper pathway and developed different performance components at different points in that development pathway, and then we lay a foundation for more belongers to be active for life and be able to contribute back to sport, have a good experience in sport, and continue to be active.
Well, I want to thank you very much for taking this opportunity to share your thoughts with us today on this matter. And now I'll leave you with any final thoughts.
Well, obviously, you're living in paradise in the BVI, and but the potential is significant. The group here today is large and is engaged, and you have health, education, and sport at the table. So you're ahead of the game in terms of being able to make those changes to be able to improve the quality of life and quality of sport in the British Virgin Islands. So it's a great start.
Thank you very much. Reporting for the Ministry of Health and Social Development, I am Public Health Communications Specialist Natasha Letson. Thank you for tuning in.